I'm not even gonna sit here and lie to you. I cried multiple times watching Ryan Gosling bond with A Rock. Project Hail Mary is out. I already planned on watching this movie when I first seen the trailer, and I'm glad I did. This is my favorite movie of the year so far. I know we early in the year, but it's definitely gonna be in heavy contention, I feel like, as the year progresses. I'm not gonna give a recap on the events of the movie because there's a lot of science mumbo jumbo in between. I'm more so gonna talk about how this movie had me feeling by the end of it. But of course, I gotta give y'all a brief rundown on the movie. Like, come on. So when we start off the movie with Ryan Gosling's character being played by Ryland Grace, and bro is in a very compromised situation. Why? Well, because he just woke up on a spaceship. The rest of his crew is dead, and he has no idea how he ended up here. I just want you to put yourself in Mr. Grace's shoes real quick. You have absolutely no idea how you ended up in space. And we have even less of an idea on how to get home. Actually, you do know how to get home. Some way, somehow you set it up in the ship's GPS. But you need a certain fuel source that you currently don't have. And you need a lot of it because you're very far away from the Earth. Like, unreasonably far. So far, in fact, that this man, Grace, I'm going to just call him by his last name. That's what I was calling him throughout the entire movie. That's what my son Rocky was calling him throughout the entire movie. We go talk about Rocky. Resigns himself to being lost in space for the duration of his life. It isn't until one day a ship pulls up on him, and when he goes to investigate that ship, he meets Rocky, a species from a planet called Arid, I think it is. It is essentially going through the same thing that Grace is going through. He too is traveling with a couple members of his species on this ship, about 23, and all 22 of them died. He's the sole survivor. So after Grace establishes a way for the two of them to communicate, start coming up with a plan on how the hell they each go get back to their respective planet. We find out that the incidents that have left these two stranded in space are literally the same. Like, the reason why Grace is in space to begin with is to combat a microorganism that is literally dimming the sun. The impact of this is that in the next 30 years, Earth's entire population will decrease by a quarter if nothing is done. Basically, the government recruit Ryland Grace, who was just a teacher at the time, run tests on this organism before they assemble a team, go into space, and get more information. Now, this team is getting sent up there knowing that they will probably never return to Earth. This is a mission that requires a light speed ship, one that's going to be traveling light years away from the Earth. It's a quite literal suicide mission, and the team has resigned themselves to it. See them celebrating their last days throughout the movie. We got to see Grace get close to the lady who recruited him to run these tests. The same lady that ended up being the reason why he ended up in space to begin with. But the way he ends up in space that we find out towards the end of this movie is insane work. See, basically 3 days before they was going to take off, their sites blew up. So they had to expedite, the timeline in which they're going into space. I think the scientists that they wanted to go up into space initially died in this explosion. So now Grace is the next person up that they trust to execute this mission in its entirety. One thing I haven't mentioned yet is that Grace really does not have great self-confidence. A lot of this is a testament to research that he's done in the past, being laughed at, scoffed at, seen as ridiculous. This is why he resigns himself to just being a teacher, because while he loves teaching, he figures anything outside of it is above his pay grade. The section of the movie where Eva, the lady who recruited Grace, has these top secret operatives chasing him down, eventually putting a needle in his neck, putting him in a comatose state for Lord knows how long. It looks really crazy. It would look crazy if we didn't already have an established idea of how Grace views himself. How he feels like this is just too tall of a task for him alone to execute, much less with the team. We see time and time again throughout this movie that Grace continues to outdo himself, obviously with the help of Rocky throughout. They are really just such a great duo throughout the film. Not only do we learn so much about Rocky throughout the movie, but just seeing Grace and Rocky travel the world together as the sole survivors of their respective space journeys, it was just so heartwarming to see them learn about each other, the lives that they shared on Earth and Arid respectively, the people that they have back home, their customs, the way they communicate, all that. It was just so great to see the way they looked out for each other too. Like, this man Grace, as I said, he's already resigned himself to floating in space forever. When Rocky learns the truth that he doesn't actually intend on going back home, he immediately says, look, I have enough fuel to supply you and your ship for you to get back home, because I'm not about to have you out here floating in space forever. Seeing Grace get emotional after this and then hug whatever object Rocky was sitting in, teaching Rocky what a hug is. It sounds ridiculous, but y'all really just have to watch the movie to understand what I'm trying to say. And it's amazing how they're able to parallel this scene later on in the movie. There's a contamination in the samples that Grace and Rocky receive to combat this microorganism that's dimming the sun. And Grace, understanding what this will do to Rocky and his ship, turns around to ensure his friend's safety. Same friend that saved him on not one, but two separate occasions in this movie. Grace went on that perilous skywalk to secure samples in order to combat the microorganism. The ship got to spinning crazily and he couldn't stop it from spinning. Rocky literally gets out from his protective barrier to not only stop the ship from spinning, but to get Grace in position to be saved, putting his own life on the line for this man. We see after Grace is healed up, Rocky managed to put himself in that barrier that it was staying in. And Grace literally waits every night until Rocky gets up. This is cute scene early on in the movie where Grace is trying to sleep and Rocky is watching him sleep because that's a custom on their planet, and that's what Grace ends up doing when Rocky is in this comatose state, ensure that he doesn't wake up by himself. This movie is so good. So many heartfelt moments. It's got comedy, it's got drama, it's got great development, especially for Grace's character, who is somebody who, like I said, throughout the flashbacks in this movie, doesn't believe he's capable of executing this mission, much less doing it solo dolo. When he finds Rocky, that all changes. I think in his mind, when he first meets Rocky, he's like, if I could just get Rocky home, that's enough to validate me as a scientist, the work that I put in to get to where I am. That's all the validation I need, knowing that I got my friend home. To see Rocky be on the same time for Grace, like I said, they really had me feeling some type of way about the relationship between Ryan Gosling and A Rock. Shout out to Phil Lord, who directed this movie, man. It was a lot of great shots in it too. I really wish I could have seen it in IMAX. I might gotta spin back and watch it again because there was just so many beautiful space scenes in this one. When Grace and Rocky first discovered that green planet and you see Ryan Gosling's character just sitting there in the beam that's housing these microorganisms. I don't remember the beam's name. If you've seen the movie, you remember the scene. Just seeing him take it all in and just watching it, it's just like chef's kiss. It was just so beautiful. Before I end this review, I gotta give Ryan Gosling's performance a lot of praise. Rocky did his thing, no doubt, but you really gotta put yourself in Grace's shoes. Imagine you already didn't have belief that you could execute the mission before you had this amnesia. Forgot how the hell you even ended up in outer space to begin with. And you wake up and your entire crew is dead. Can't even update you on what the hell went on while you were asleep. And then you have to find a way to not only get yourself home potentially, but to get your new mans that you just met, that you didn't even know planets existed, all without even knowing how you ended up in space to begin with. Despite the odds, he still did that. He still got Rocky back to his planet. It's just a testament to what we as humans can do when we really put our minds to it and believe in ourselves. I resonate with Grace's character so much because there's so many times on my own job, I feel like I might not stack up to my peers. I might not have the confidence to execute this task because of a past mistake that I made. I'm still beating myself up over. But at the end of the day, I know that I'm him. As cringe as that might sound, it's true for every one of us. There's no other lesson you take away after watching this movie. Understand that you are capable of more than you put your mind to. Much more, no matter what the doubters say, no matter what that voice at the back of your mind is saying. You are more than capable of overcoming any challenge that's set in your path to destroy you. Sometimes it takes a space journey light years away from home to prove it. I'm giving this movie a 9.25 out of 10, man. I really loved it. I might spin back and watch it in IMAX. Like I said, this movie was very beautiful. I would not mind seeing the story of Grace and Rocky unfold on screen one more time. I don't think I can sit through a damn near 3-hour movie more than twice. As always, though, y'all leave your thoughts on the movie in the comments. What did you think about it? What's the biggest lesson you took away from it? I know there was a lot of different themes in this movie. I think the biggest one I took away from it is to believe yourself even when every chip is stacked against you. I've been Jose Suave. Hope you've been entertained, and we're going to talk soon. Peace, y'all.